Welcome to the Mailtime Podcast. I want to get right to it, responding to Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation. He spoke last night at Hillsdale College trying to clean up some of the mess since he came out attacking the quote-unquote venomous coalition that is going after or calling out Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. Let's hear what he has to say.
A few days ago, I posted a video truly with the best of intentions. I and Heritage don't engage in canceling people. Because when you cancel people, especially in the age of social media, if in fact you do that because you want their audiences to get smaller.
That's absolutely not what anybody is doing. People are speaking out because Tucker Carlson has engaged in dishonest conversation and elevated some of the most hateful and grotesque voices in a way that is playing footsie with them, not actually engaging in a discussion to advance American interests. Having Nick Fuentes on for essentially a dinner date is very different than having Nick Fuentes on to challenge him on some of his anti-American, racist, abhorrent views.
You make their audiences bigger. And there's the whole thing of the loyalty toward friends. And speaking as a pretty proud Generation Xer, my motivation, having seen over the last 25 years, basically the entirety of my professional career, that men and women of all ages, but especially in my generation, have been canceled from every industry. My motivation was to draw a line in the sand and say, let's stop that. Yeah.
Nobody is attempting to cancel anyone. Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes are more than happy, more than free to go and make Rumble videos or YouTube or X, whatever. Why does he have to be elevated as a friend of the Heritage Foundation if the Heritage Foundation is supposed to stand for conservative ideals?
You have a problem with the content, you have a problem with the issues, you have a problem with the ideas, by all means, go debate them. But I have to tell you, to the students, that this old history professor made a mistake. And I'm not saying that your professors at Hillsdale make mistakes. But sometimes you can make a mistake with the best of intentions. And my mistake was not saying we aren't going to participate in cancel culture. We're not. My mistake.
Nobody was saying that. Again, how many straw man arguments can you make in a single 5-minute clip?
Was letting that, which we will never backtrack from, override the central motivation that I had in doing that. Because I can tell you as an old professor, but also as a dad of 4, there's one of those ideas that really worries me. It's an idea that has become cachet, not just on the left, but on the far fringes of the right. And that's anti-Semitism.
First of all, who cares about the left right now? We're talking about the right. And he kind of just made the point, right? If it's on the far fringes of the right, let's keep it there. But by saying that you're friends with Tucker Carlson and therefore you are not going to say anything about elevating anti-Semitism, you are actually moving the anti-Semitism from the far fringes to the center of the conservative movement.
And so let me say loud and clear, the Heritage Foundation, which has always not only stood against anti-Semitism, and I, if you know anything about my career, have done the same, we will never, ever, ever stop fighting against anti-Semitism in all its forms.
It's pretty pathetic.
And I mention that to the Hillsdale students, not because I believe you're flirting with that, but because, as a dad of 4 of your generation, and my kids don't flirt with that, I do know that several million Americans your age, especially young men, do. And our motivation at Heritage for making that statement was to begin appealing even more than we have to those largely disaffected young men who are looking for belonging and identity by following the wrong people. And
So now they need to appeal to the groypers and people that are openly racist in order to teach them the right thing. I'm not really sure how saying that you're loyal and therefore you will never cross Tucker Carlson and he's a friend, therefore no matter what he does ever, you're going to support him, how that actually then encourages proper behavior. Essentially, the idea of coming together as a group or even as a foundation is meaningless because there is no foundation. Everything goes. There are no definitions. There's nothing too vague. There's nothing too much over the line. There's nothing that's unacceptable. Again, you can have ideas and the ideas can stink. You can still be friends. But you have to call out the idea for what it is.
so the second apology that I would make is especially to any friends, particularly Jewish friends, who, thank goodness because of their magnanimity, understand what Heritage and I are trying to say, that even though you appreciate the motivation and the intention and you trust us, we know that now is a particularly scary time to be Jewish. It is a time when the rise of anti-Semitism on the left, which is far more widespread and profound than it is on the right.
Again, we're trying to keep it that way. And this is obscene that Kevin Roberts keeps coming back to the left versus right. Let's talk about the right here. I don't go to Kevin Roberts in this moment after he just elevated and defended Tucker Carlson to get a lecture about the left. I don't care.
At the same time, happening on the right means that it's very difficult. Acknowledging that in my world, which is the world of communication, that the first principle of communication is if anyone doesn't understand what you were saying, then you didn't say it the right way. I am grateful to be able to explain that here at this institution. Because this institution, Hillsdale College, is a place not just of high learning, not just a place with excellent professors and excellent students, but it's also a place, most importantly, and this comes back to my motivation, a place of the heart, a place of the soul. And in our line of work, public policy and politics, you might think that the Heritage Foundation is exclusively worried about politics and policy. We love those things. But the reason we do that is because we care very deeply, very affectionately about the American people, and especially the souls of our young men, particularly our young men, who are flirting with these noxious.
So, according to Kevin Roberts, the best way to stop noxious ideas is to essentially normalize the people that are bringing them in there and then compete in the free market of ideas. But again, you can't actually judge them as bad until everyone's listening to you. It's absolutely obscene. If he can't call out the moral failings of his friend, then how can he call out the moral failings of people who are not his friend yet? He's failed on the friend test and he's not fit to be a leader, certainly not of the conservative movement.